I think we got the YouTube to work, or they.
Yay.
Not me.
16%.
Sydney. Hey Sydney, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Sydney. Hi. YouTube might be working.
Yeah.
We're excited. I'm not touching anything.
You don't like her hat.
Well, I do gotta let somebody,
Yeah,
gotta let
sure.
him in, don't I?
Yeah, you don't got what?
Where's my
Go on.
participants?
Yeah, I don't know.
There we go.
There you go.
That'll help me, and then I'll take it off when you come back.
Yeah.
I think he's just supposed to be.
Barely.
Yeah, well, no, we have four. We have,
Quantity of the.
yeah.
Yeah, he's supposed to
Kawan's
come.
supposed to join, so.
We sent him
that'll
a
be
link this
sick.
morning. Only one I know, I think is not Whitney.
Yeah, right.
Was she gonna join on? No, that was the convocation was right in the middle of it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Daggone it, WKU. That's okay, ours starts next week with all that stuff.
Okay, so it's you're stumbling on somebody's.
I'll help. I'll help put it together. We're team sisters. Takes a village to raise the children and takes a village to get people licensed. That's what we're gonna say.
So 4 people, we have a forum, don't anybody
Yes.
leave?
Yeah, don't anybody leave. Hello, Sydney.
Hello.
Welcome.
How is everyone?
I think we're okay. We think we've got the sound resolved for you, so, cause online and, Kawan might be, said he would be joining online.
In the waiting room now.
Is it?
Yeah, yes. It's good to see you.
Hi. Swapped places. You're in person now this time.
We did. I even got here early. I was like super impressed with myself. Cause we have a heck of a drive.
Yes, we do.
Just glad you. There he is. Kawan, welcome.
There he is. Come on. Oh,
There he is.
There he is. All right.
Greetings, y'all.
Welcome.
And you said nobody else? We're good.
No, we're
Yep,
good.
we're good.
We are good. We are.
Vanessa, you want me to shut that door?
I think Mark's gonna come back in.
Oh.
I don't know where he went,
It's gonna lock Mark out.
but yeah. It doesn't lock.
What do you
We
need Mark
go on
for?
and do it, I guess.
What do we need Mark for?
We can probably go on.
She just does.
In
the port. Oh.
Here you go, there. Sorry about that. He probably went to the restroom.
Well, we'll give it a minute to get back.
Mark, you never did answer. We were all sharing, you never did tell us if we had.
No.
Another way.
I know
Okay.
you're trying to get.
All right,
Oh, there he is.
there it is. Welcome.
Yeah.
Back. We're ready to call the meeting to order and, note we have 2 on video and 3 here, so we have 5 out of the market. So we have a quorum and ready to do business. First order of business will be the minutes from July. Discussion?
Yes, everybody should have, received the minutes from July. Does anybody have any changes? Okay, I'll do a motion to accept the minutes from July.
Second.
Motion and second to accept the minutes from July. Any further discussion or questions? Not all in favor of adopting the minutes? Aye?
Aye.
Hi.
Hi.
Ah, there we go. Cut in the microphone.
A little delayed.
Yeah, a little delay. We'll wait. Well, I'll try to remember to wait for the delay. That's okay. That's all right. Minutes approved. Mr. Kelly, operations report.
Okay, applications, LSW 3, CSW 27, LCSW 26. Renewals, LSW 16, CSW 50, LCSW 118. Temporary permits, clinical 10. Non-clinical 3. Approved contracts, 88. Deferred, 0. And I approved 3 sponsors and 4 providers this month. Also, I want to say that the electronic contract is online and working.
Yay.
Nice.
Good work.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
So,
Yeah. So you plenty of time, so that they could go online and fill out the contract, start with the CSW. The LS, the supervisor fills their out part, and then all
HR,
the HR, the employer, they all sign it. They all get a message that it was approved. They all, if there's a holdup anywhere along the line, then it can automatically notify. So all three entities know that it was approved and they can.
then I get it in the end.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Is it like DocuSign?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Is it the
Nice.
actual DocuSign?
No, it's an electronic signature.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, so.
It's
that-
so
that-
nice.
so much easier, right?
We've had 5.
So,
Okay.
Great. So people are using it. Awesome. Great.
Nice.
so no more emailing back and forth.
Right.
So
No more printing,
no more printing, no more scanning.
Secretaries, lowering carbon.
no big stacks on my desk.
Yeah, extraction paper, so we gotta move on from that.
Awesome, yeah, very happy.
I am very happy with that. What was their total license fees?
Total licensees was 7,989.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
And that, I'm sorry, I just wanna let you know that's from the current
Yeah, I
system
know.
because I can't run the report to include all the new folks we issued from
It's Jeff.
Okay.
Just yet.
Just fine.
It's kind of.
This comes, right, we'll talk about a little bit more about that later. Whitney's not here, so I'm gonna give a brief, financial report, for July. The income was 43,720. Expenses for the month was $36,662.92. That leaves our fund balance of $681,221.53. Didn't see anything, which Vanessa sent me ahead of time, didn't see anything in the financials, or, for the month that
Mhm.
raises any red flags or questions, so. That's all next. I'm sorry.
First state your month.
Yes, first day of the first month of the new fiscal year, so. Everything's in order on that, so.
We need to vote and approval on the operations.
Yes, we do, thank you.
Why don't you just note it for the record, because I don't know that it needs to be voted on, because you're not gonna vote against it.
Well, the vote is to approve, we delegate to the executive director to approve applications. So it's the board's
Yeah.
adoption of the report, includes all of that.
I was thinking the finance report.
Right, finance report, we would need to just make a note.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
Okay, Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Need a motion to approve the operations report?
Second.
Over there.
Cindy, Kawhi, any questions for the operations report? All right, thank you. All
I'm
in
gonna go
favor?
get her.
All right,
We're on a K.
all in favor of approving the operations report? Aye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi.
Aye.
Thanks for reminding me to, I missed that. Finance, we need to note for the record. Finance report, well, we've done it both ways, but technically speaking, we note, the board notes that it's approved for the record because then you say it's sent for audit. That's technically how you do that, so that's all. So. We can note it for the record, there's not any objections. Questions? We do need a motion for today's per diem.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Oh, got a second. Sorry, Quan.
Maybe next time. And be quick on the draw.
Yeah, get on.
Leave that mute off.
Yeah. Okay. All in favor of adopting the per diem for today? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. On to committee reports with applications.
Okay, so we have, 9, because we had some that were deferred from last month, so. Applicant number 1, we, reviewed and would like to defer applicant number 1. we need more info to show the completion of.
You're on applicant 5, flip it over.
Oh.
We're on.
Oh, I was about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I was like, no, we didn't.
Okay,
No, we
sorry.
didn't.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for keeping me on my toes on number one. Okay, so applicant number one, we do not want to refer. It looks like, it was a release from probation like back in 2018, so applicant number one is okay to test. Thank you.
All right. Any questions for applications? All right, committee of 2 or more does not need a second, so all in favor of adopting applicant 1 for testing. Aye,
Aye.
Alright,
thank you.
Aye.
Okay, yeah, no opposed there. Thank you. All right,
okay, applicant number two, we are going to, defer, again. We need documents showing the outcome, it says it looks like we have documents, but it looks like it's denials of early termination on both times for, I think probation, so.
Yeah, they were sentenced in 2014 to 5 years probation, and they should have been released in 2019, but there was no proof of release, just the denial of early release.
another document. Okay, all right. Applicant 3,
2.
yeah, if you,
Oh.
yeah,
Okay.
when y'all defer, you.
Right, okay,
that's
sorry.
Information to the board.
Yeah. Did you get that, Vanessa, that it was made, the documents were showing like where the probation officer asked for early termination, but it was denied both times. It doesn't show that, the applicant completed it.
They should have released in 2019. So whatever paperwork they compiled from 2019 should have it.
Gotcha. And then, applicant number 3, it looks like they were, shoot, I'm looking off my number 5. Okay, applicant number 3 was looking for reinstatement, and per review, we were okay for reinstatement of that license.
Vote. Ready?
Yes.
Okay, any questions? Cindy, go on.
No, thank you.
All in favor? Applicant 3? Aye.
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 Okay, and then, applicant number 4, per our review in a committee of 2, we felt that this applicant was okay to test. They have noted finished parole in February of 2019, and all paperwork has been received.
So, referring on that one.
No.
No, that one was okay to test.
It's okay to test? Okay, sorry, I had a side conversation with Sparks. It's applicant 4, okay, to test. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, applicant number 5, we opted to refer, this applicant needs more information to show completion requirements of parole.
Questions for on applicant 5?
Okay, applicant 6, we also opted to defer. It's noted in the application that, they had initially been ordered, probation, and then probation, moved into, drug court and. we just-
Unsupervised probation and then drug court.
Okay, okay, so, we need more proof of that outcome.
Questions?
I have a question. So when somebody is sent to drug court, typically what's the expectation as far as the duration of that process? Is it just until the judge signs off on it, gives a green light? What does that look like?
It's my understanding, yeah, Quan, that, that they, there's a typical kind of path that you take through it. And, you know, it may take some folks a little bit longer than others, usually around 18 to 24 months. And, when they're finished, there's always like some kind of a drug court worker, a case manager there that kind of makes those recommendations. And then they typically have a graduation for them, when they release them. So it's a big deal, for that. And this applicant just, all we had was an order saying that they would have it, but no documentation showing completion of drug court or completion of the unsupervised probation or release of that. So, we're not, like, based on the dates, it should have happened, but there's no proof of it, so.
Gotcha. So is it the board's position that one should complete drug court before being considered or be participating in it? So completion.
Please.
Gotcha. Okay.
And
Thank you for that.
that's the case, whether it's a 2-month commitment or a
Right.
2-year commitment.
Right, yeah.
Whatever it is, the court mandate, if they've completed it.
Understood. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And we're right on that one.
Okay.
Okay, and then, applicant number 7. We also are deferring, we need corrected judgment documents. I think this one, we were having trouble reading, the documents. They didn't seem clear. Like. when we
Yeah,
checked-
there was no legible copy of the sentence or the completion, so. And there was only, I don't know, like 3 pages total that they sent us, and it was not legible at all. The print was so like light that you couldn't read it, so,
Request to resubmit the document.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay, legible, readable.
Yes.
Okay.
and then I think I wanted you to discuss
okay.
applicant 8.
So I'll take on applicant 8. Applicant 8, submitted an application before and we denied it due to the degree. They did not have a social work degree, so they were looking for that equivalent. And, they submitted it again, asking us to, review that again and lay out their case of why they thought they met, all those requirements, and, taking a good look at it again as an educator, and looking at all those things. It's our decision to deny this one again, to defer it, deny, I guess we'd say, because there was no practicum where there had been a supervisor, that was a social worker involved. Policy, wasn't addressed. So some of those areas that we find, essential to the education was not covered in this degree. So it doesn't meet the equivalent requirements.
Okay. Any questions, Cindy?
Yes. If I may ask, what was the degree?
Oh, gosh, when I'd have to look, I don't remember now. I think it was like human services.
So they're trying to get a social work license with human services degree?
They want the LSW, I think is what it was. They want the LSW. Let's see. Let me look to be sure.
And Quan, we have a regulation for equivalency that we have to go through, and it's the way, that's what they're saying. It didn't be enough of that to qualify.
Gotcha. So there could be some circumstances when a non-social work degree would be equivalent. This one, it was not.
It's possible, and sometimes, the most recent case I could think of, to give you an example, is that we had somebody move here from, Britain, from Great Britain.
Yeah.
And, of course, their structure of education is very different from ours. But getting the transcripts and evaluating the transcripts, we could evaluate and say it
An
met
international degree.
international degree and met our equivalency, and they would issue the license.
Well, and to be honest, don't we want them to have a degree that's accredited by the Council on Social Work Education? Unless you're a social work, you're not gonna get that. Well, the degree was it was a Bachelor of Arts in Psychosocial Human Services. And so, they tried to make the case of how they, met those content areas, but it just wasn't there. Some of the areas, yeah, but not completely, so, yeah. It's unfortunate for them. I wish they had had an opportunity to do social work, but
Right.
yeah.
Okay,
So, we have a motion for denial of this application again, after second review. So any further questions? All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Long,
okay, so applicant 9, we're, opting to defer again. Excuse. Got it.
applicant I for opting to defer again.
Sorry.
Because there seems to be some inconsistency in, the supervision, proof of supervision. I think the plan is to maybe give them a call today before we leave, just to see if we can get that figured out, because when we look at the dates, there's some gaps, and then there's some overlap that shouldn't exist with some of the reports, so we just need to get that cleared up. So that will be another deferral. That's all.
awesome.
That's it.
All right,
Yeah.
good. Okay. Moving on to the complaints and, Whitney's not here, so I'll give the presentation of the case as a motion, and I'll need a second so we can discuss. First case is 2545. Basically alleging that there was no consent for treatment. With, what information the committee had, that we could find. That do not have sufficient information, evidence to support the initiating complaint, so we're moving to dismiss.
You need a second.
Any questions?
Is that insufficient evidence on that one?
No. So there's no, there was consent to treat, we couldn't find that there was.
No,
this,
yeah.
So. Motion to dismiss, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Slow on the draw.
Wait for you. Okay, case 2546. This was case where there was probably the lack of good communication and between the client and the social worker. Communication seemed broke down, but we could find no evidence that there was any violation of law. So it's insufficient evidence to moving to dismiss with insufficient evidence to support the initiating complaint.
Insufficient evidence. Did the complaint to,
I'm sorry, you cannot speak for this part, okay? Thank you. It's insufficient evidence to support the allegation or the initiating complaint. Questions? Okay, all in favor of dismissal? Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
thank you. These are three cases. Same, with different allegations on each complaint, but on the same social worker, so we combined them. So this case 2552, 2556, and 57. The complaint was about the social worker expressing their religious beliefs, Facebook posts, saying that they were, exhibiting prejudice, those kinds of things. There is, wasn't directly with clients. And well, so they object to it is, falls under that freedom of First Amendment. So we're recommending dismissal of these three cases. It's all similar. Mr. Brewer, so people wanted to comment on this one.
Yes, you do have provisions in the Code of Ethical Conduct that apply with regard to conduct with a patient, but otherwise, outside of a clinical context, you certainly have a First Amendment right to espouse your views, your viewpoint, your religious views as a matter of the First Amendment right. So there was insufficient evidence of a violation of law with regard to a patient or a client.
Go on, question.
You know, I have one.
I know.
You
I
get-
didn't say that one, so you might as well
Yeah.
ask it.
Yeah, yeah, you can see the wheels turning. So just to clarify, there was a Facebook post that a social worker put, and a client was complaining that the social worker expressed their religious views on it. And this was the complaint.
Was not a client.
Oh, okay. So it's just a reporting body was complaining that a social worker expressed their religious conviction on a Facebook post.
Right.
Okay. So just for clarification, for legality, if one were to, during a clinical session, state their religious conviction, that would be problematic. Am I understanding that, or is there a little bit more nuanced?
I think that
Potentially.
depends on context
Yeah,
with it, I think.
Potentially, it
Yeah.
could be because it involved the client. If the complaint that somehow created harm for them,
Yeah.
then that would be an issue that we would have to take up.
Yeah, I think it really does depend on context, because, we do a spiritual development, a spiritual
Right.
assessment, right? And I think, maybe if they wanted to include the spirituality and you were of that same, praying or something, I don't think that would be the issue. I think it's when it is discriminatory and damning that it would create the issue.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because of course, whole health popped in my head. So the
Yes.
key word being if there was harm caused to the client during a client session. Okay. Okay. Just want to make sure I'm tracking.
No,
Thank you.
you're right on.
So I just have a question without knowing, the details of that. Help me to wrap my brain around this. So legally, there may have been nothing there, right? And I realize we have First Amendment rights or whatever, but aren't we getting really close to ethically crossing a boundary here based on the NASW Code of Ethics?
Well, we have to apply the Kentucky Code of Ethics.
Right, well, that's true. Well, our Code of Ethics has that too, right?
Right, but not
So-
in the same way. So we have to go with what we have, not with what they have.
And the language doesn't. Okay.
Match the same.
And I still think it's a slippery slope.
You have a code of ethical conduct that is in law.
Right,
In
well-
Kentucky Administrative Regulation, and that is the only thing that governs, period, you all. From this body. The National Association of Social Workers has their own rules. If you choose to belong to them, if you don't belong to them, then their rules don't govern you. It's like a country club. I don't belong to the country
I
club.
like that, Mark.
Well, if the country club has rules about a dress code for Sunday brunch, they'll kick me out of the country club if I don't wear a sport coat and tie for Sunday brunch, but that's not illegal.
Your privilege is showing, Mark.
Yes, I don't even call. So there's also a fundamental litmus test, in my opinion, which is it against the laws or just rude?
Okay,
Because you don't.
I still feel like it's a slippery slope.
Well,
Yeah.
you could ask, is it a good business practice?
I'm not
Is it a-
thinking about business.
Is it a good, I mean, it's a slippery slope, yeah, but that's where we are on the slope.
I hate slopes,
Well,
so I don't ski. Sorry, I just wanted to think about, because without knowing that context, it makes me wonder, because I do think it is a slippery slope when we're posting things that are hateful to the public.
About social work, other side, because I am a member of NASW. That code, but I can't go by that.
I know, it's so frustrating, so
I
hard.
know.
I want to comment, we had a rat, sorry, blah, blah, blah. I think there were 11 current complaint matters for decision making. We had a rash of complainants who cited the National Association of Social Workers Code of Ethics. And an equal number of respondents who cited that, who don't know the difference between law and ethics. So we're governed by the code of ethical conduct. You're governed by the code of ethical conduct under your law, and that's it. If there's a slippery slope there, we're not on that slope.
I want some both. But thank
That's
you,
because you choose to be a member of the National Association, and that's fine.
but I'm actually not a member. I just think it's a good one.
So, okay.
Anyway, thank you, Hank, for that explanation.
Sure.
And you too, Mark.
I do have one more point of clarification I want to ask. So was the implication that the religious thing that was mentioned was hateful?
No,
Okay. I kind of took that as the,
it wasn't. No.
okay, gotcha.
Did they perceive it as hateful,
The,
discriminatory?
now, the person who reported it is not the client.
Oh,
I'm sure you understand. None of the reports were from clients. So.
oh, this is a vendetta is what that is. Somebody doesn't like
Well,
somebody.
it's could have that slippery slope side of it too.
Yeah, it sounds like that could be playing in. That's a difficult one. Yeah, but I'm with you.
People tend to like to use social media to debate certain issues.
I know.
The fact that it was turned in by somebody, not the client, is not unusual.
Right, that's not.
Because
Right.
I give the quick example in physical medicine with dentistry. If there was a dentist who had an ad that said, I do totally pain-free dentistry. Patients don't turn that in because they don't know. But another dentist down the street says, you can't say that. You can't promise people you do, quote, totally pain-free dentistry. It hurts when you get the bill, if nothing else. So those kind of complaints, like on advertising, almost exclusively come from competitors and other dentists.
Yeah.
You can't read anything into that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, back to the cases at hand. Cases 2552, 2556, and 2557. The motion is to dismiss. There's insufficient evidence to support the initiating complaint. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I,
Thank you, Kwan. Now, moving on to 2553. The complainant is alleging being abused, or that a social worker was abusing their leadership position, retaliating in the workplace. After reviewing lots of information, we could find out seems to be an internal work situation that isn't involving clients of the social worker. So we can find no evidence to support the initiating complaint. So we're moving to dismiss. Questions? The one of those kind of interesting. Bring one, if you had a comment on this one, I thought maybe.
I think my comment will apply to this one and the next one, and that is, look at your code of ethical conduct and see all the things, the do's and do nots that involve clients, patients, former clients, former patients, and the rare ones that involve others like employees, coworkers, or students, supervisees. And this was entirely an employment situation. None of it involved a client. And so there was very, very few do's and don'ts regarding employees. There are employment laws out there.
Right.
In the world that, like you have to pay people a minimum wage. That's an employment law. Social workers have to earn $7 an hour or whatever, but that's not regulated by this board. So in the context of purely an employment situation, there are just very few laws that apply under your code of ethical conduct.
to be an internal HR whistleblower retaliation type of situation for the agency.
Right, it doesn't seem to involve our code of conduct at all. So,
Understood.
motion to dismiss. All in favor?
Aye.
Case 2554. Same work situation, but a different person. So all what we just said applies to the same next case, and motion to dismiss due to insufficient information. And second.
Second.
All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to 2558. This was serious, matter of failure, several complaints, but most important was failure to report alleged or suspected, abuse as mandated reporters we are. Other complaints were, parental consent and access to records, but the one that stood out the most, is the failure to report. This one, well over a week.
2 months.
This one, well, there was the other one's 2 months. I think this one,
This one was April of 2024, June.
This was, right, this was 2 months.
Oh.
So, would recommend, that,
Notice administrative hearing.
notice administrative hearing and order and settlement authority given to the board council.
Second.
Questions? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, 25, these are 2 cases involving the same, so it's 2559 and 2560. Allegation of dual relationships, so the motion of the committee is to send the investigator to find out what's going on, and so the motion is to approve the authorization for the expense for these 2 cases, 59 and 60.
Second.
Motion, okay, second, on both cases. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Haven't got done yet. All right, I'm up to 2562, am I wrong? We're still on the right track, Vanessa?
Yes.
Okay, 2562. The complaint is that, there was lack of consent because both parents didn't sign for consent. And I'll let Mr. Ringham will comment on that.
Well, this was a complaint, as Hank said, about both parents not signing a consent form. But the law is that either parent of a minor has the independent, separate, and unilateral authority to act to consent to treatment of their child. And that is true whether they're married, whether they're boyfriend and girlfriend, whether they're divorced, or anything like that. There are other reasons why you would want to have both parents consent, but like who's going to pay for it? And those kind of things, that may be the matter of a divorce case between divorce parties.
And in which case, when there's difference in custody stuff, you may have to get to, but again. That it was done in this case when. The consent was properly done when at the time, so we could find. Dismissal.
The age of the child was.
I don't know.
Teenager.
Teenager.
Cause I was gonna say, at a certain point, they can go ahead and give consent for themselves too. And they're right under that.
Yeah,
I still think you have to be 18.
well,
I think trying to research. There are some exceptions for physical medicine like that. But I've researched that and I never found anything in mental health.
Well, I don't know about that. I was just thinking about. I just think holistically, you know.
I think the exceptions are for physical medicine, which means like a 14-year-old could go on birth control without parental consent.
That's interesting.
I think I've researched this, I think that's what I found.
yeah, the age of 16 is what you're all gonna try to debate, and this child was, or this minor was below 16, so it still goes back to the consent was there, so motion to dismiss insufficient evidence. For complaint, second. Question, second. One, Cindy, okay, all in favor of dismissal?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on, it's 2565. Again, a dual relationship, and the motion of the committee is to send the investigator to find out the details because we don't have that right now.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, 2566. This was an allegation of, the consent for treatment was not done properly. The information we have, we don't have any evidence to support that complaint. So the motion is to dismiss with insufficient evidence.
Second.
Questions? All in favor of dismissal?
Right.
Aye.
All right. Last one, the 2567. Allegation of failure to act, because of the self-harm and report of that with the minor. Going,
This was a case where the allegation was, the failure to report alleged abuse. The allegation, the facts of part of the allegation were that the parents had notified the social worker of this act of self-harm. The social worker did not report it. Their defense later was, well, I never had any contact with this child. I didn't know anything was going on, but the allegation was that the parents told the person it was not part of a documented clinical session. So the trigger under your law under Kentucky is, do you have, quote, reason to believe that a child has been abused, neglected, or engaging in self-harm? And so this is what needs to be investigated with regard to whether the person was in fact, the social worker was in fact informed that would have triggered the duty. There also was some included in the response was various texts that went back and forth between the social worker and the minor child, the minor female. And there were some odd self-disclosures
being done
by
by
the
text.
text. And so that's another
piece.
Another piece of that is, makes you wonder what's going on when you respond the way you do to. I don't see the value of, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't see the value of clinical things being done by text. I would say, I'm running late to my appointment.
Technically, that's not allowed under our current law.
Yeah,
So that's a violation there. So we need the investigator to figure out all of that's going on in this case. We don't have enough information. All of those issues.
you investigate because there are important questions that you don't yet have the answer to. Or the answers you have are contradictory.
Yeah.
My therapist groped me. No, they didn't. Well, there's your answers, but you know, they're contradictory.
Yeah. So, again, another investigation case. Motion is to send the investigator, so I'll give you a second.
I have a little bit of a question because I guess I would think that would be secondhand reporting on my part. If I was the social worker, like in that, like, unless I had seen evidence, like, and that's not a typical case that I'm seeing, like talk of self-harm and things. So just trying to clarify here, but, I guess I would only feel that I would report if I had knowledge that there was a history of self-harm.
Well, let's say the patient had disclosed to you in a clinical context in a 50-minute session, I swallowed a whole bottle of pills yesterday, I was gonna try to kill myself. Let's say outside of a clinical session, the parents called the social worker and said, we want to let you know before the next session comes around that little Susie swallowed a whole bottle of pills and tried to
Yeah.
harm herself.
So I think that was key. I'm glad you used that example, because when you say self-harm, I think of something different. I think of like cutting and, you know,
Same.
that sort of, as opposed to a suicide attempt. That makes it a very different situation for me. And I was thinking about that, about, you know, of the youth that are engaging in self-harm, which is clinically what we refer to as just the cutting and stuff like that, that are in treatment. And if I had to report that every time,
Yeah.
like that would be that would destroy the therapeutic relationship, first of all. And then if they're already in treatment and it's being addressed, what is the purpose of reporting?
That kind of self-harm probably isn't the kind of abuse or physical abuse which has a legal definition that would trigger the duty to report.
Right, that's what I'm saying, so the language was important to me, so self-harm means something different clinically, I think, than self-harm as in I'm trying to end my existence.
Part of the defense was the social worker said, I haven't had any contact with this patient during that time.
But
They
they
didn't
did.
say anything to me. Well, the allegation was the parents made a phone call or made a contact with the social worker, so they were informed that way. And then in establishing part of the time frame, the social worker disclosed text, oh, here's all the communications I had, like before and after this alleged incident. And that it also revealed some, what could be inappropriate, self-revealing other things in the responsive text.
Without a
To a
doubt,
minor.
To a
right,
minor.
without a doubt, there's an issue with that for sure. I guess I was just caught up with the language with self-harm versus, and I'm still kind of curious about if the parents are reporting, and this is maybe more a clinical situation, not to be discussed here, but if the parents are reporting it, first of all, did they not take this child to see a provider, like to the emergency room or something?
Oh, they
Was
did.
there medical evidence?
Oh, they
And if
did.
that was an issue, then that would have been handed off. Like the emergency room would have called someone else to come in to evaluate and decide if they were, if they needed crisis intervention or what. So it wouldn't have been that social worker's responsibility at that point because someone would have already assessed and dealt with that, and they should have been getting a report.
If that's the case, then do you fulfill your duty to report by including that in the report and say, I'm a social worker, I'm treating a minor patient. My minor patient tried to overdose, ended up in the emergency room, and I understand that that person may have already been reported.
You might, but I guess I'm struggling with when I'm making a report to CPS about that, then I'm actually I'm not reporting the child for abusing
Right.
themselves. I'm talking about the parents having done something terrible. And we know from what we understand about suicide that parents don't always know. And so I can't think that we would set the precedent that we're gonna blame the parent if the child tries. I just think it's, and without understanding if there's like some neglect, abuse in the past or
That's
what.
why we want the investigator to go in to get more, we got, as said, we got conflicting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
So
we
I'm
need-
just confused about reporting an attempt like that to CPS.
With the
That makes
details.
sense.
I don't think I asked my question right, so the thing that got me is that the parents called the provider. So outside of the therapeutic visit, outside, cause I'll get calls at my office,
Mhm.
this situation is awful. And I'm calling to tell you that I'm really concerned about it, you need to do something about it. And where I think it might be APS appropriate to call, I have never been to that person's house, their house could be clean and everything in this. I would be secondhand in that report, so I always have felt I need to assist someone if they're calling me with a concern like that, to call CPS or APS themselves. Is that not the case?
That's fine.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because I was like,
You're okay.
I feel like that's
I think
secondhand
that- yeah, I
report.
think it's just a judgment
Yeah,
call on
yeah,
behalf of
okay.
the social worker with that, because
Okay, I think my question.
I just feel like it's
Sorry.
necessary. We start blaming parents
Good
for.
question. Good questions.
Yeah, thank
But
you.
again,
Yeah.
good questions.
Yeah.
That illustrates why we want the investigator to go and help us.
Sorry, we didn't mean to derail. I just
No,
think
no,
that's
no,
important,
no,
especially
it's
if, for the
important
people watching,
Yeah. We
to
don't.
be able to understand that,
Yeah.
that clinically anyway.
Mhm.
That's why we need more, we don't have enough to make any kind of
Mhm.
good decision and recommend that we send our investigator. So
Okay.
motion and a second for the investigator on case 2567.
Second.
Favor, aye. You said second.
Aye.
Second. Aye. Aye. All right. Thank you all. We, through complaints. Moving on. Old business, ASWB updates, this past weekend was the leadership weekend for, committees and the board of directors, and, Whitney and I Whitney went as a member of the nominating committee, I go as a member of the DEIJ committee. It's a good weekend, a lot of good things came, like that, we had some new members, from different jurisdictions on different committees, so it gives you a chance to meet them. And so that was all together. Well done. And I'll put another plug in for Sydney and for Kwan for the new board member training in September. It's a good way to meet others from the other jurisdictions, especially from Canada, maybe. 'Cause they have a whole different system. It kind of helps to kind of go, okay, wait a minute. How do we, because like a lot of things we say states, of course, they have provinces, so it's kind of making sure that we always think about how we state things because that we are our association with our Canadian friends.
I will tell you, Sydney Quan, if you have the opportunity to go. I went last September and I learned so much about being a regulator and wearing that hat, and you'll meet so many people, and it's just fantastic. So if work will support it and allow it, gosh, please go. It was great.
Kwan said he registered yesterday.
Yay, come on. You will love it. It's fantastic.
Cindy's registered too.
Oh, and
Cindy's
Cindy's registered too. Awesome. Yay, y'all. So good.
on mute.
Yeah, you put it in chat.
Y'all get to do it together. I gotta go alone.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not fair.
I was able to go, but I went with another board member, so it was nice to have another board member,
I went solo because I'm a rebel like that.
Hey guys, it looks like your video's never mind. I was gonna say your video is frozen, and as soon as I start talking, you're unfrozen.
Okay.
Okay. Should you talk so we unfreeze? Yeah.
I was bringing some weird stuff.
Well, the other one is,
Well, we can hear you fine. I think my voice just melted it, so it's unfrozen.
There we go.
Next is.
okay, under IT, you already heard the good news about the supervision contract. We want to move the other forms, like the documentation and experience form, and those kind of forms into the same system that we have now, so that we can move that along. The application software renewals, all the data migration has been done. We are a month ahead of schedule, on that, so we hope, so like November 1 to be October 1 to have that piece finished. And hopefully by then have the verification of license piece, done. We're doing Tuesday, or next Tuesday, to hopefully finalize all that piece of it. So the applications will be done. But that phase, anything you have on that?
Just be patient with us. We're working a new system and we're in two systems.
Yeah.
Working at the same time.
But,
Taking a little longer
I think you're doing amazing.
approve them.
I
yeah.
think you're doing amazing. I love the new system.
Well, it's like anytime you switch systems, you keep your old one going.
For a little while at least.
Yeah, it'll continue to go even after we go completely live in October. We will still have access to the old system, so we don't lose anything. So it's a major piece. And thanks to the staff for continuing to work with that. We did the verifications Friday, got it in. We actually, Clever Technologies, of course, our vendor, complimented us that our data was actually cleaner than they expected and cleaner than other groups that they've worked with. So that's a credit to staff over time. So that's good. Social Work Compact, the September 4th is a special meeting of the compact from 1 to 4. The agenda hasn't been posted. It should be posted on the compact website. The big issue is approving the rule on the licensing exam. And we have to make decisions about the data system. So that's out there, and we will have a initial guide for states to prepare, if they haven't already worked at preparing for the compact licensing, to some suggestions for them to to start working on. We've already got ours, we're okay, but, that, there are now 29 states, in the compact. This will be an all virtual meeting, if you want to comment or whatever, there's a link to do all that ahead of time. We have our first, if you look at the social work compact map, you'll see a new color. And kind of like the blues for, those who approved and those who pending and whatever, there's a new color there for the state of South Carolina. The Compact Commission will not be on the agenda for this meeting, but we'll have our next meeting in November. And we'll have to have a vote of the commission whether or not to accept South Carolina into the compact, because it looks like they have made substantial changes to the law. Unlike the other states, and that's one of those things. If you join the compact, there's only certain things. There are certain things you have to accept to be part of the compact, and then the others, if you change it, then the commission can not allow you to come in, because they've all agreed to the other rules. So that's how I wish that hadn't happened, but if you see that other color, I think it's black.
And how many other states do we anticipate?
There-
We
there's-
expect this number to go up, right?
Yeah, there's, depending on how you look at it, 7 to 11, 7 or more, up to maybe possible 11 states that are still considering it.
Great, thank you.
And some who did consider it, may consider it again, but we'll see. And good news is that even California has proposed it now. What I understand, this is the first compact
Yes.
California has even adopted or proposed to
Yeah,
accept.
we can just get New York.
Well, somebody says, H would freeze over before that.
Yes, I think that's probably true. New York. will do it
Maybe,
all.
I don't know. That's the compact. Any question? I always get this question, like, how soon is that gonna happen? Well, if anybody's got a couple $1 million to donate to the compact, we could probably move a little quicker.
Well,
But I haven't found that kind of a donor. So, if everything goes, if we get money, that's our biggest hurdle right now, is to get money because we can't get a data system that's required by the law. We can't hire an executive director and have staff until we have money. And that's what we're working on. It's, hopefully sometime next year, I would, but I wish I could give you something better. I'm hoping, our objective is maybe by the November meeting of the commission, we can have some type of official timeline that we're working on. Because by then, we hope to have solved the money issue, decided about the software and that kind of stuff to be able to project a timeline for the sake of the states, et cetera, like that. The data system, we have to make sure it's compatible with all the. So it'll take a little time to do that. Regulations, the 075, which is the continuing education reg, it's being submitted after comments, probably will be on the September meeting. We've looked at the code of conduct draft, keep looking at that, or we keep getting comments on that, so that's good. You had the fees draft from last meeting, so see if you have any questions on that. The only other regulation that we have to review sometime before next June is the equivalency reg. But I'll bring that to the board after we work through some of these others, because I don't, if y'all see anything in that regulation that needs to be updated. Because, that's that. Okay, oops. All right. There was an error on the agenda. This and forgot to take off the we did the evaluator contract last month. Sorry. Anyway, all right, moving on to, you've got a copy of the, proposed legislation for 2026. And, we wanted to go through that kind of section by section. If, Cindy or Kawan, if y'all can pull that up from your email. Just to make sure that if there's anything that you've thought of or whatever that needs to be included. Section 1 is just very straightforward, and most of this is what we proposed last year, so there's really no significant changes from last year, really. Section 2 is the definitions. The only difference there is pulling all the definitions in the statute from the telehealth section, et cetera, putting it all in one, which is the LRC's format of doing things. They like to have all the definitions in one section. So it does that, and references the multi-state authorization to practice in the compact language, because it's to update this statute, so we're ready to issue licenses when the compact is ready. So it's kind of like our step ahead of time to be ready for issuing the licenses. I don't know if there's any comments on that part. One, I don't know if it's just deleting that one section that has a time limit on it. Part of this is to clean up language and to clean up other pieces that don't make practical sense of what the board's doing at this point in time. Some sections of this was written in 1974 and it's being updated. So just FYI to know how far back we're reaching. 1974 is when the Board of Social Work was established in Kentucky. We were actually one of the first licensing boards in the United States. So just a little history for you.
Oh,
So interesting.
Yeah, seriously,
That's
back
the
then,
fringe.
yeah.
It did work.
So, but as you can know, it's like, of course, definition of client, the only new definition is the one that's called technology mediated social work service. It's an effort to include technology because all social workers use technology one way or the other, cell phones to email, and it's broader than telehealth. Anyway. Are you on this?
Sorry, I gave you an updated version of that.
Oh,
For
yeah,
some
I'm
reason.
sorry.
Okay, I was like,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be front and back. It
The one
will
in your
be
folder,
one page.
the one in your folder.
The one I
is-
just gave you.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. I saw you looking, so I figured
Sorry,
I'd let you know.
She called us.
It didn't.
Cindy,
Right.
I'm not on it today.
See, well, we had a copy in our folders here that were only one, they were missing all the even pages, so we had.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay.
19 is what, oh,
What page? We're on page 4. Yeah. Let's see. Those definitions that are there, client, social worker, telehealth, all come from last year's drafting that the LRC did, so it's using the same language. And then,
I have a question.
Sure.
And this is just this nitpicky. When we're talking about social worker, that definition, is there, and I even hate to ask this, is there a reason why we have like CSW and then LSW rather than doing them as they would happen, like the degree, let's say you start, and all your degrees are in social work, you would start with the LSW as opposed to the CSW. So is there a reason why CSW is first? Could we put LSW first? I mean, this is so nitpicky.
well, it would be convincing LRC to renumber it. They numbered it this way back when it was drafted. I don't know why they.
Well, I'm not even,
No,
oh,
I know.
I see what you mean, remembering it.
I know.
It just makes no sense to me.
I agree, I totally agree with you, but I'm going,
Is it
asking.
the alphabetical order?
Do what?
Is it alphabetical order maybe?
No, I
Well, if
don't know.
that was the
I'm not sure.
justification they used, that wasn't
I don't
smart.
know. I don't know what they used. I just go,
I didn't think about the number.
I am not gonna ask them to change numbers. These numbers have been used there since 1974.
Well, let's leave the numbers, let's leave the numbers, but let's put LSW first. I get it, I see what you mean now, but it makes no sense to me that we're listing
I don't,
the master's level
Yeah.
license first.
yeah,
And it's so nitpicky, and I shouldn't even have brought it up.
it's not, it's
What
an
do you mean?
inconsistent. It's an inconsistent.
On 4/19,
Yeah.
number 8.
Yeah, number 8. If you look at the numbers for master, social worker, it doesn't do it like licensed LSW, BSW masters, and then clinical, it does it in a different order.
It would make sense to me that LSW would
It
be
makes
the,
sense to me to do it LSW, whatever.
yeah, LSW would be 80 and the CSW would be the 90, but they don't have it listed that way.
Right,
Yeah, but it makes sense in, not in alphabetical order, but numerical order by statute, because they cite 335, 080, 090, 100.
right, and ask them to
Just have LSW.
switch the whole section to the different, change the number, and not change the number, but switch the whole section to a different number.
Maybe when we bring up this LMSW, we can get them to read numbers.
Maybe, yeah.
He's like,
Uh,
that's.
I'm gonna go add that to my list.
Yeah. Of course, this includes, if you're a regulated social worker is the term that's used in the compact language, so it's putting that, pulling that into there, so it helps when we do the licensing. Section 3, it's the whole, where are you, at the time of service? Again, coordinating that with the compact language, because you have and when you cross state lines, you have a dual accountability, because if I'm still in Kentucky, my Kentucky license goes, but if my client's in Indiana, then I have to go by Indiana rules as well. Both locations have an interest in the encounter because I, as a social worker, in that encounter with the client, am not a passive observer or anything. I'm an active participant. So normally, Mr. Brindleman, the way I understand it is that most of the time, if there's an issue, the location of the client takes precedence over the location of the social worker, but in compact length, both are, we're accountable to wherever we are and wherever the client is. It's that kind of accountability.
So I don't know if this would ever happen. I like to think it wouldn't, but maybe it would. What happens if there is a conflict between the state laws?
Well, you might be in violation of one state law, but not in violation of the other. So for example, in Kentucky, if your patient is in another state, either temporarily or permanently, you can still treat that person by telehealth under Kentucky law. But that state may have a law that says you can't. So Kentucky would say, oh, that's fine, and the other state would say, you've done something illegal, we're going after you.
Well, and you have to go back to our earlier discussion during the complaints. Make it a little bit harder for you, Janessa.
Like I need that.
I know, but again, it's like, in Kentucky, it's like, if we're all mandatory reporters because of our profession, but
Right,
mandatory reporting extends to people who are not licensed,
right.
Even in
In
Kentucky,
Kentucky.
even in
that's-
Kentucky.
it only applies to persons.
Right, person.
If you are a person, are you a person?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to ask yourself that.
Yeah. But you have to be 18, right? You have to be an independent person.
So
don't
it
you?
It
says.
doesn't
It
say.
doesn't say that?
No,
That's ridiculous.
I know. Yes, let's push it a
The
little bit.
brains haven't even, okay, I'm gonna hush.
Just a little bit further, is thinking
The
like,
first threshold is, are you a person?
Yeah. most
But
states,
ask yourself that question.
I meet that one,
yeah, a lot of states have similar, but not all.
right?
Okay, then you go back to
Yeah.
the duty to warn.
Duty to warn is different.
It's
across states,
different
too.
across state lines.
Very different.
Very different, yeah.
So that's why the compact language says, and we repeated it here, you have to abide by the laws of where you are, because if I'm in Indiana, I have to abide by that law. Just like if I'm over there driving and I get a speeding ticket, I can't say, oh, I got a Kentucky license to go and say you're part of the compact, you can pay the fine here. That's kind of how that works.
I mean,
That's why I say, people, I want compacted, we must be able to, but we do have to, it opens us to the individual practitioner and the client, because client's gonna don't know that. It's gonna be on our part to know that.
Well, and I think as regulators, we have to realize that too. So if a complaint comes in,
Mhm.
we're gonna have to think about like,
Yep.
well, they were in Kentucky. They weren't in violation here, and maybe
Yep.
that was, I don't know, I just think
Right.
we have to keep that in mind when we're reviewing complaints.
Yeah.
When this goes in
When
effect.
this goes in effect,
Yeah.
we definitely.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Okay,
Anyway.
gotta love the law.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Anyway. So we got that, section 4 is again some cleanup language. We don't issue a temporary license when they get approved for the exam. That goes back to, again, probably 1974 when maybe that was done. Where it changed, I have no idea. Can't find any historical record to know why we stopped doing that, and we have, but it also said you could do a temporary permit, so we had a temporary rig, so, and it didn't ever, so we need to
Mhm.
take it out just to clean it up, because we don't do that. So on that one, and then the whole, all that temporary stuff, because we got it on the rig. If you notice, the drafter pursuant is not used anymore, it's in accordance with, so you see those kind of changes.
Is that an LRC thing?
Yeah, that's an LRC
I
thing.
wonder what the reason behind that was. Do you know?
I have no idea, but the
That was
thing
just
is,
making it wordy.
yeah, right, yeah, like I said, like that, section.
Hey, hang on, page 7.
Yeah.
And number 4 there.
Yeah.
You've got in accordance with, but the 2 was left, so you wanna take that 2 out.
No, page, wait, let me back up here, hang on a second. All right, page 4,
Page 7,
7, sorry.
number 4 there. Says the board may conduct hearing in accordance with and pursuant is marked out, but 2 was left. You
Wow,
wanna take the 2 out.
that's their error.
Is it their area? I caught them. Gotcha, LRC. Just wanted to mention that.
It's not it, that's it, but that's their error, because that's straight out.
That would read really weird in
Yeah,
accordance with 2.
Yeah, they would probably catch that at some point. See, they have it up at number 3. They did it at number 3, but
Yeah,
they didn't.
They
did
did,
number 3.
yeah.
Yeah.
One for the board.
Yeah, one for the board. That was good. Pretty good. Oh, top of page 8. Apparently, we've had the wrong title for the Kentucky Society of Clinical Social Work wrong since whenever. So it says, the law says right now, the Kentucky Society of Clinical Social Workers, which is incorrect. So we're correcting that.
I thought that's what it was.
No, it's not. This officially, this is the Kentucky Society for
I don't
Clinical
know if I've
Social
ever heard
Work.
anybody say it before.
I mean,
Fantastic.
well, we were talking about this last year. Nobody caught that either.
Yeah.
I mean, which is good to be able to do, go through, just like you said, the 2, check, catch and.
Does it make you conclude that the General Assembly doesn't know who you are, the Kentucky Society for
Yeah.
Clinical Social?
Yeah, right. I don't know. Anyway, at least we got their name corrected, properly. Anyway, long time. Okay, number 10 is where we have the provisional license, and been asked this question, it's kind of like we have one section about doing temporary, and then this one is longer. That's again, the drafter stuff. I don't know why, we submitted like 9 and 10 were kind of matching language, and they changed it 10 to include all of this. Why they did? Again, drafters do drafting, and they put it all in there. Why you wouldn't go back and put chapter 13 and 9, I don't know, but they didn't, so.
I just want to say I really appreciate and think that I think it was smart for us to include the word may there.
Yeah.
Because
It
this
is.
hasn't been decided and
Right, it makes it.
I just love that.
It still keeps
It's
it,
smart.
it keeps us with some flexibility. It
Yeah.
doesn't push any mandate on anybody.
Or any particular time period.
Right, and it gives us plenty of time to, and gives us flexibility that all the, so to speak, details get worked out in the regulation process. So there's all those that checks and balances. What I like is the fact that, it's the first time the word students is mentioned in our law. It was never mentioned. It should have been mentioned before. Because we should be doing something for students, and I think that's what we're doing here.
Capitalization.
Yeah.
LRC.
Of course, you realize, we had this all came out of the ad hoc committee, Kawan and Sydney, sorry. A case came before the board with students practicing without a license. It was an indirect complaint because first it was just a complaint about how they were being advertised on the website. And then it grew into a lot more. So we appointed an ad hoc committee and discussed this with educators and professional associations, and the idea of a provisional license is what came out of that. We've done surveys, we've done, so that's where it comes from too. And is it okay to mention anything about current cases?
Well, you can say that, we've had current cases where students were being represented and billed out as licensed providers.
Right. What happens is that the student feels they're caught in the bind. They complain to they try to approach their school to get support and don't feel like they get any. One student felt like if they did, they would probably get shut down, so they didn't want to risk graduating. And then they find out that they're seeing patients on their own as a caseload, which is, if they're not ready for this and not properly supervised, that's a danger to harm. So it became, as we looked at this, it becomes a public, public protection issue. Practicing without a license, of course, is against the law. So the board is in that ethical dilemma. Do we sanction students or we ignore the law? That's the ethical bind. So in the discussions, that's how we came up with this, that we would find a way to structure it so that the student would feel supported, learn at the same time, and have proper supervision, because unfortunately, unfortunately, you talk about changes. Janessa is like, we have to look at, the compact stuff and how that is. We have to look at the fact that our schools and social work, when I went through, is pretty strict on stuff like that, but it doesn't seem to be there anymore. And so we have to.
It depends on the school.
Right, kind of depends on the school.
Yeah.
So we have to look at that change and go, and as one administrator told me, well, we admit, if they're breathing and pay the check, then we admit them. Well,
Well, there goes the gatekeeping.
well, right, I'll say that's a pretty low bar, and they were saying, I'm just being perfectly honest, and I won't quote them, I'll tell you who it was. And they say, and I'm saying it because I know other schools will tell me the same thing, and I go, wow, that's a change that we have to face that we didn't used to have, the boards before us didn't have to face. And then you add on top of that, cross state lines, it really gets confusing. So this is the one other thing that I like that this brings up is that, believe it or not, you probably believe it, let's bring them in. There's an exemption for students in psychology and if they were going for the counseling license, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
You want to explain how that works?
In CARES Chapter 319, there's an exemption for students who are enrolled in a graduate program with a transcript of record in psychology. But they have to be under clinical supervision, all those kind of things. I've never seen anyone try to take that exemption and run with it and bill themselves out or start their own little mini practice on the side when they're a student.
But we've seen that happen.
But or have someone else bill them.
Right.
Someone else says, oh, I'm gonna train you to see this patient. And by the way, I'm billing you out as if you were a
So
doctor.
we see our students being billed out, but we also see other professionals like preparing for a degree that would put them under the LPC board, billing for services and practicing. And there's no, we don't know what the school's doing. We don't, but again, it doesn't appear. We had a case that was reported to us as being a social worker that we investigated, ended up not being a social worker. But they were charging and practicing, and we would consider practicing without a license. And the risk of harm. So I think in one sense, doing it like this puts our students on a little parity level. I mean, a little side effect of that. So anyway. All right, we don't know, the time limit on the refunds has gone out, so like that, all the rest of that's the same. Changing the word prepare, we don't prepare the exam, we approve the exam. And then, because we're in a virtual world, displaying your license, you know. If you're in a physical office, you can put it on your wall, but display it virtually so that people can see your license. You know, those next three sections, they're not numbered correctly. As we would like them, are all pretty much read the same. And, yeah. So that brings us up to section 7. Any questions, Kawana, Sydney, so far? Okay. All right, section 7. We, you know, again, going through all of that, 7, 8. 8 is where, it's this new from not in last year's, like I say, this is where under our, under the section about, and, you know, about, you know, disciplinary action and adverse action, we wanted to talk about how that impacts us, so that if we get a complaint, say somebody is in the compact, they're licensed in Ohio, they have a multi-state license, they can practice in Kentucky, we get a complaint on them in our, now, let me reverse that first. If Ohio gets a complaint on their license under the compact structure, they can restrict that person from practicing in any other state. And maybe have some restriction on their practice in Ohio. They have to, all states have to notify the data system. This says that if we find that out, we can take action on them in our state on the multi-state license. And so it's kind of helping that work both ways. So that's what that language is for. And vice versa. If we have a Kentucky licensee who screws up, gets a complaint in Nevada or someplace, and we get that information, gives us, does that make sense? So we're trying to coordinate that so that those, we're hoping we don't have a flood of complaints, but with 29 states, we know how many we get. We just have to have a mechanism to make sure we can legally deal with it for the protection of the publics out there as well as just here, because it, hopefully it won't get out of hand, but it's not, I mean, some states get far more complaints, and that's when we go to SWB, we find they get far more complaints than we do. So in a multi-state setup, that's gonna all get reported by and should be, so that all the states are informed. So that's what that's from.
So would it be on the, up to the complainant to report to both states, or up to
No.
the states to communicate with each other?
The states will report to the data system, to the compact, then all the states can see it.
Gotcha. Purpose of the data system.
See how that, yeah, see, that's a critical piece, 'cause that's why we want to get that software right, so that we
Yeah.
can.
Get our $1 million worth out of that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, section 9, is the same as, except for, one part, it's the same as last year's section. There is that section in 158 where it says take a 2-hour required class. Well, you can read it, it's just only if you use telehealth. How is the board ever gonna know who uses telehealth and who doesn't? So all the other statutory requirements like this read like we've reworded it here. Because, you know, we have a statutory requirement to do the domestic violence elder abuse. We have a statutory requirement to do the suicide prevention. We have a statutory requirement to do the pediatric head trauma. This would read the same way, so that, you know, I don't do pediatric, I don't deal with kids much anymore. But it's still good information for me to go through the required course
Well,
about
if you're
it.
supervising someone too,
And if I'm
you should
sitting,
know these
yeah, right.
things to
So,
be able to mentor them.
yeah, so the idea of putting it in, we had talked about 6 years, but, it was suggested that we just go to every year because it changes so quickly.
Yeah, technology
It needs to be done every cycle, every 3 years. So that's why and that's the only real change in all of that. The rest of it's what we talked about last year, except for the bottom. Just trying to deal with those crisis situations.
Good one, yeah.
So that's where that wording came from, was trying, because it really wasn't in there, so
Yeah.
now you probably ought to put that in there.
Yeah, that's smart.
So, anyway. But, you know, putting the parameters on it, so like I said, all the rest of that is. You know, and again, number 6 on page 15 is kind of like trying to make sure all of our people know. Gotta comply with the laws and where we are, where the client is. And, you know, that means age of consent, that means, you know, age of consent's not the same across states. Mandatory reporting, duty to report, licensure laws, you know, Florida, they're not part of the compact yet. You could be registered there with an agent in Florida and then provide telehealth in Florida. Well, that's different. Well, that's what you would do. Like for that law, you know, so, you know. And then, you know, like I said, I would probably be, if we get this passed, that's always the question, you know, when you propose something to the legislature. We'd probably be the first state to say anything about out of country practice. Because nobody else I've found even wants to touch that one. And we just say, well, go by those country laws, whatever. You know, that's simple, because I know people who do that. They always, because they ask the question, you know, what am I supposed to do? I go, I don't know what the rules are in Germany. You better find out, because, you know. All the American Embassy or the VA, you'll probably get a good dose of it, but, you know, you'll find out. But nobody knows law. You know, I sure wouldn't want to try to defend myself in Germany when I'm living way over here. I don't know. It's just a matter of that. Of course, somebody wanted me to put in, I thought my other things to practitioners is check with your malpractice carrier before you do very far. Because I found any of them that do a whole lot out of country, but anyway, I said, that's up to you, but I said, no, I don't think we can write that into the statute. That you have to have, you know, telehealth practice. Or have to have mandatory, have to have malpractice. Anyway. Thoughts, questions, Sydney, Kwan, anybody? This is, Mark Greenland, Mark.
No, we're good.
Nichols, we've been over this and and tried it. We didn't catch the 2, so I'm glad you caught that one.
There's another inappropriately capitalized I in there too. So
Oh, well, what page?
on implementation, let me find it again. I circled it.
Okay.
I was-
All right, because we got to catch those. Hopefully the drafter will catch those 2, but as we can see, they didn't catch everything either.
On page 811,
Page 11, okay.
where it says for the creation and implementation, they have a capital I instead of the lowercase.
Page. Which one?
Under 11.
Oh, it sure does. Hey, don't tell how long that one's been there.
I know.
Since 74.
Yeah.
Yeah.
74.
And that's one of the things is that, you know,
And that's easy to do. Those
it is,
things
oh, yeah.
are so easy to do.
It is so, and they would have corrected if they ever caught it. They can do that under their technical, law and stuff too, like that. It's, and it's probably, you know, with the compact coming and the telehealth and all this stuff, it's probably, very much, for this board to actually kind of review all of this and kind of bring it up to date to where and social work practice, at least in 2025, with kind of hoping to kind of, you know, when you do this, you're kind of hoping, well, okay, let's kind of, hopefully this is what might be the way it's going to be for the next 3 or 4 or 5 years. So you don't have to keep going back to the legislature. Oh, we need to change this, we need to change this. So that we've got a more complete kind of a cleanup of our statutes and reflecting practice today. So anyway. In a formal motion to accept this with the caveat, and I'll let Mr. Bringelman express that.
I think you're looking for a motion to accept this draft as presented today as proposed legislation for the 2026 General Assembly, comma, with the authority delegated from the board to its chair and executive director to negotiate any final edits and changes.
So moved.
Okay, motion and second, questions?
Second.
Cindy Kwan? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, and, uh, just to say, Whitney was really, wish she could have been here today because of this, but, she had prior commitments at her university that she could not do. When the president of the university, you gotta show up, right, Jonathan?
Gotta keep the money flowing.
Yeah. All right, thank y'all very much. As I say, the next item on the agenda there should have been crossed out. Vanessa and I, neither one of us caught that, so. Moving on to new business, and the only item under new business, this is August, and this is our annual meeting to elect officers for the next year. We are a large group of delegates and voters. There's 5 of us here today. Whitney is serving as our vice chair. I'm serving as chair. Laura is serving as secretary. And I've asked them, and they're both, and we're all three willing to stay in our respective roles. And the floor is open for nominations for anyone else for those positions. Or there's a motion, or I should say a motion, or to accept the slate and vote on that. That's the other option.
Motion to accept the slate, vote on that.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to vote on the slate. Questions?
Sydney, are you sure you don't want me to nominate you as chair?
I'm
Your
sure.
second meeting? Your
You know,
second meeting?
we've been here 2 months. Let's do it.
Let's
No.
go ahead and do it. Chair, vice chair, we can do it. I think we figured this thing out. We got it by now. Yeah, I think the slate sounds like a great idea.
Perfect.
Okay, all in favor of the slate?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank y'all. It's an honor to serve you as your chair. I know Laura and Whitney are the same as service officers on this board, so we appreciate all of your help. We appreciate your volunteering efforts to attend these meetings, especially when they get a little tedious and long. And please don't hesitate to ask questions, even if it takes a little extra time. Seriously. One of the changes that is necessary for this board, I think, is to be far more transparent. Other boards may not have had to do that. We have made that commitment, and I think we're following through with that. These are public meetings, so that's where we're at.
Ask a question.
Any other new business or anything else that needs to come before this body? Okay.
Is this meeting aired on the YouTube or are we still having the tech issues?
Well,
It is working.
it looked like it was working, didn't it?
Brooke checked it out for us,
It was
and
working.
text me and said it was
So,
working.
It's working. So we
Okay.
have overcome the tech issues, we think.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, we'll talk about a TikTok channel later. So,
For now,
That's right.
hi chat, hi YouTube chat. Saying hi.
Yeah.
It was on there.
That way.
3
if
people
not-
watching.
Yeah, that's good. Well, yeah, the good thing about it is that it's recorded, so they could actually watch it out later on their own time and stuff, so we want to keep that. And wish we could have solved the tech issues before, but you know, as they say, technology is great when it works, but when it doesn't, it kind of limits, so we want to make sure people who can't travel, you know, to Frankfurt to be able to be involved, so all that. So encourage others to watch it or whatever, and comment, let us know. All right, this time we will entertain any announcements from board members or public.
I asked some questions.
Well, hang on a second. No questions. You can ask a question.
Yes, I'm Roland Snyder, and I've been posting frequently on the Facebook page. I filed a complaint today, 2523 against Isaac Ray Manis. I had repeatedly asked who and how, who to submit the evidence to, how do I submit it to them? No one would help me. I am disabled. And I am disabled in ways that I shouldn't be because of Isaac Ray Manis. I need some additional help. No one is helping me. I talked to your attorney and he gaslit me, saying he didn't know of any additional evidence. When I spoke at your April meeting and you were the one of the ones who spoke up, saying that you wouldn't take the evidence I had, when I asked at the meeting, who do I give the evidence to? You voted insufficient evidence. Without taking the evidence, I am a disabled woman. This has been a living hell. Ray Manis is still abusing me. He has caused significant legal issues for me.
So is your question about how to submit evidence? Is that your question?
I need help. Is anyone here willing to do conflict resolution to help me?
That's not the role of this board. If you need conflict resolution, you would need to find someone.
I'm in conflict with you people.
Well, then you'll need to find a conflict, somebody to resolve the conflict.
Is anyone willing to volunteer to help me submit evidence?
If you have the conflict, then we would have to agree with you on who to mediate the conflict. Mr. Bringland?
Who do I submit the evidence to and how do I submit it? Some of them are
The
recorded.
case that you're speaking of is closed. You can always file a new complaint and
You
submit the
do.
evidence within.
I have sent multiple emails.
You have to
It's a
submit,
completely invalid. So you as social workers, you're not willing to admit you made mistakes.
We are regulators here. We are regulators. Our job here is regulators.
How can you be leaders of the social workers in Kentucky if you are not willing to admit that you made mistakes and willing to correct them? Social work is all about helping people
It is.
and
but in
helping
this role-
society,
in this
and
role-
you're being unwilling to correct your mistakes. You're unwilling to acknowledge that you screwed up.
It is your position that we screwed up, correct?
I know you screwed up.
That's your position. That's your position, correct?
No one will tell me what's needed to get this
You can-
situation resolved. I have asked.
I'm answering your question. I'm trying to. You can submit a new complaint and submit your evidence with that complaint.
Why is it that I have to jump through hoops to be treated like a decent human being? This is the most dehumanizing experience of my life. And it's in large part because it's coming from people who should know better. Who should understand ethical treatment of other human beings.
We're not treating you any differently than anyone else.
That's the problem. There are a lot of people, I've gotten a couple of messages about how unprofessional you people are with complaints, with their complaints. You have a long history, evidently, of mishandling complaints. I was even advised against it because you wouldn't do anything.
I think we can really only speak to our history as individuals that are regulators here.
Yeah.
And sitting next to Hank, he's giving you very clear steps that we give to everyone that brings a complaint forward.
I wanna know why you won't take responsibility for not helping me to begin with, when there were multiple emails. When I came here with my husband in April and said, we have additional evidence, and you wouldn't take it. Why did you not take it?
I think the case was closed at that time too, wasn't it?
No, it
No.
wasn't.
No, but we didn't get anything. Right? We didn't get anything.
I don't.
Yeah, to consider. After that meeting in April, we didn't get anything.
I asked you who to give it to. Some of it is on the.
I think both of these gentlemen volunteered. You can send it to either one of
No,
them.
they didn't.
They did at the meeting.
No,
They
they
did at the
didn't.
meeting because I was here and I heard both of them.
I recorded it. I've got
I know
recording.
what they said.
He said that he didn't have any awareness of this.
He was saying he would take the evidence.
He told me on the phone that he didn't have any awareness whatsoever of additional evidence.
Well, at this point, we have a conflict. You find a resolution of a mediator and we'll be glad to sit down. to decide.
So I have to
Wait,
jump
stop,
through
stop,
more.
stop, sorry. Excuse me. Excuse me. You can't monopolize this meeting and the announcements, okay? This is a public meeting. This is not for conflict
So you
resolution.
don't like what I have to say, so you're.
That's not a
shutting me
matter
down.
whether I like what you're saying or not. I'm saying it's time for us to move on to the next person, okay? I'm giving you plenty of time. I've given you extra time. Okay,
So
now,
of
now,
you two,
yeah, now,
stop.
no,
Of
wait a
you
minute,
two,
wait a minute, wait a minute,
stop.
whoa, no, you stop. And you can,
He is destroying my life.
look, we're not gonna resolve it right now. Okay,
No.
we're not.
What if
We're on different wavelengths and we're like, if you continue to disrupt, I can call security if I have to, and I don't want to have to do that. Can we just,
Yes.
stop. Let's agree to stop talking to each other and let it go to the next person. You've had your say. You had plenty of time. We understand.
Who
We're in conflict. We don't need to continue this. We do not need to
is going
continue
to
this.
take the evidence?
Nobody right now, nobody today. Because you haven't filed another complaint. You have to file the next complaint and submit the
You
evidence with that
can't
complaint.
reopen because.
No,
you
we do
screwed
not
up.
reopen cases.
That's
Once they're done, they're
obscene.
done. Once they're done, they're done. The person who complained has the full right to make a second complaint.
So you were
On the same
threatening me with security because you can't admit you screwed up.
You're wanting me to say that, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying your time is up. Okay, your time is up.
Thank you, Hank, because
Okay.
my turn to talk, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Updates from NASW Kentucky, been super busy. We held the first human animal wellness coalition, which went amazing, and the goal is to connect the human animal violence, so we've got tons of groups. This is super exciting, right in time for the legislature, and really letting people know across from Kentucky and beyond what's happening, what we're doing and empowering. Mental Health Insurance Reform Task Force 2 meetings this month, Bowling Green, Lexington. Next month, we're connecting with the therapist retreat and gonna present in Paducah and Owensboro, and then heading east to Corbin and Ashland. And Ashland, that whole area, like eastern part of the state, well, the whole state, but we're planning a one-day virtual conference with West Virginia about environmental social work. Super stoked about that. And Karen Thompson, you all know Karen Thompson, who's amazing. We presented our first grief loss and change program at the 50th anniversary of rural social work last month in Lewisburg. Had the best time. So we're gonna be doing that in Northern Kentucky. It's gonna be a 4-part program. So we're gonna do kind of one introduction, see how it goes, and then follow it up with virtual groups addressing social work and looking at through the lens of self-care, grief, loss, and change. So we're very, very excited about that. And we're gonna be putting out a push, given all the DEI stuff happening. What we're gonna do is take it on our own and put out probably in the next couple of weeks. I'll let all the educators know, free student memberships, a certain number of free student memberships that students can then, not apply for, but we'll have a Google list and hopefully we'll be able to get that. So it takes the onus off of the schools, which we think is probably a good move. And we hope that that's gonna be replicated in other chapters as well. So pretty exciting. And again, the Mental Health Insurance Reform Task Force is just going off like, so a lot of good things are gonna come from this. So that is probably one of the things I think that will, moving forward, is gonna be really exciting. So as always, thank you all for what you do and thank you for letting me share it.
So where will the environmental social work conference be held?
Actually, I think we're gonna do Zoom. We're
Okay,
gonna do Zoom so that we can really promote what's happening here in Kentucky and West Virginia, there's a lot of cool things. So we want other states, and of course, a lot of the states are overlapping some of the same things. And we'll talk about the concern about water quality all the way up to some of the really cool grassroots movements that are happening, Red Oak School and things like that. So if you have any recommendations, we have a really amazing who is in your neck of the woods in Ashland. Kelsey Bird, who is a doll face. So if there's any ideas or things that you have, I do want to connect her with you because I think she will be amazing. So again, if y'all have any recommendations, ideas, let me know. I think we'll probably, everything right now is post-wedding for me. So post-wedding, looking probably end of October.
Well, not speaking as a regulator, but as an educator, if there's anything we can do to help with that, I'd be more than happy.
Oh, you mean the wedding or the big conference?
Both.
Joking.
Both.
Yeah, but I think there will be some really good things happening with the environmental piece.
Yeah, that
So
sounds
any
fantastic.
ideas, and we will be more than happy for that. Thank
All
you.
right, thank y'all very much. Thank y'all very much. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
They've asked you.
Any all in favor of adjourning? Aye.
Aye.
I
Tell Clark to send anything.
Bye, guys.
Bye, enjoy the September,
Yeah.
Thanks.
We're-
the September new board member training, and hang on to any receipts or anything that you might need me to reimburse you for when you travel next time.
And have so much fun.
And have fun.
Yeah, and have fun.
So good.
Do you like ice cream?
Yes.
All right.
Have a great afternoon.
Thanks.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
See you guys.